Monday Night Lights, Monday Night Lights, Monday Night Lights. Let's talk about what's been going on at Viking Ice Arena. You've never seen a league so exciting and tough and fast. It simply must be discussed on an equally exciting and tough podcast. What's it called? Monday Night Lights. Yeah. Monday Night Lights. The Tigers, the Nordiques, the Whalers, the Seals, the Americans, the North Stars. Who's gonna stall? Who will go far and earn the keg? Who's gonna earn the keg? We'll find out in time. Give us a holler on the whoop line.
The Monday Night Lights podcast is back. Brian Piercy here. Troy Otto and Andrew Hedis are both at the Red Wings game today. So filling in for his second time in the well is Mr. Jeremy Cohn. How you doing today?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Glad to have you back. And as you might have heard from the clapping, we do have a number 2 here as well. Number 1 in our hearts, or 1A, 1B, I don't know. Goalie, you got to be careful with their egos and everything. Right. Mr. Dylan Lesnar, how you doing?
Doing good, boys. Doing good. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Good. So as always, give us a call on the Whoop line, 714-75-WHOOP podcast at MNLHL.com is the email address, and subscribe on Twitch. Remember, every 30 days you're eligible if you have that Amazon Prime. Interested in the podcast, we now have stats.mnlhl. Go to the podcast lineup. You can fill out the form. We have a couple people starting to move in. Rumor on the streets is we might have Mr. Sam Mackey next week. Ty coming in soon, possibly Crunk as well. So
nice.
People are filling in as possibilities to come into the well.
I think we still have an invite to Uncle Whoop too, right? Like you might bust down the doors of the well at any point in the next hour or so.
So
don't count on it.
I mean, yeah.
Don't count on it.
Hedis ended up going to the game tonight, which is understandable. So we made some calls out to people. I text Uncle Whoop. He never actually responded. Sounds like he responded to you.
I know, me either.
All he said was, "What time?" And I was like, 9 o'clock. I think Drager said 9 o'clock and just ghosted us. So.
He's like, that's awful early for me to wake up for 9 o'clock.
I know. Yeah.
So first item on the agenda today is going to be new sub rule took place already. So now essentially you have to always sub down. Any thoughts on that first time? Good, bad, indifference, didn't matter? Cone, let's start with you.
I think it was needed this whole time. Starting with season 1, we kind of had that silly rule put into place and just kept getting carried over each season, and it didn't really make much sense anymore. There's the league guys, maybe besides maybe the top 4 and the bottom 4 are all really close. So there's really no excuse to not grab a guy that's really close to the guy that is out for your team. So I think it's for the best, and it's for the best for the league as well. It limits who GMs can grab as subs for their team, but I think for overall, it benefits the league and makes things more fair.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, before you were allowed to sub 4 spots up, and now it's always back. I don't think it made a huge difference today, but I think it's a good rule overall that could be impactful in the future. What do you think, Dylan?
Yeah, why should a team be, get the upper hand just because one of their guys don't show up? You know what I mean? So
right.
They should be penalized. So yeah, I was jumping up and down and jumping like a retard before, but I like the new rule.
Yeah, first time it happens, I know the Whalers, we ended up having 3 guys out, kid situation, I think with 2 people with hockey games and all that going on, and then another man on his honeymoon as well. So fair's fair. You got to do what you got to do. Can't really complain about that. So pick'em standings as well. Let's go over the top couple. So we have DaveP at 20, Dylan 18 over here, Geo 17, Troy 16, followed by Skillman at 15.5. If you want to see those complete listings, go to pick'em.mnlhl.com. Dylan, you've been an early leader in the clubhouse most of this season, and now you've dropped 2 points behind DaveP. What is going on?
I missed a couple picks. North Star's been fucking me up. They've been fucking me up. Been betting against them, and they've been putting goals in. So I think I gotta start rooting against them or rooting for them. I mean,
Oh, rooting for the North Stars. You got to start thinking with your head, not your heart, I guess.
He's still too new. He doesn't know what it was like to see a North Stars winning streak.
Yeah.
You thought it was bad today.
Yeah.
Not in general. It was
yeah.
just wait till they win 2 in a row.
There was a time where Troy thought they were the best team in the world, best team in history of MNL. He was grooving. Him. They kind of hated each other, but they still had that one goal of just pissing off the league, and they were doing a very good job
They were
at
doing
it.
a great job, yeah.
Now, Mr. Cone, pick 'em. You don't participate. Is that email really?
Womp,
Was that email
womp.
really that hard to respond to every week?
Oh, yes. I'm busy on Mondays, man. I got to help Hanny put the team together. I got to get in the right mindset. It's game day, so, I got to make sure I'm watching what I'm eating, drinking enough waters. Way too busy. I'm also incredibly lazy. And I just like throwing the emojis down.
Yeah, that's so hard there. I'm surprised you had time to throw down the emojis. Fair enough, but
I'm a pretty busy guy.
yeah. So I think it's just, there's not a lot on the agenda so far as news goes. So let's move on to our games. Our first game of the night was the Mighty Ducks versus the Whalers, 0-2 with the Whalers pulling it out. Super quick. Turtle, Gibb, and Bin were out. Coming in for them was Rattler, Myers, and Geo. And on the Whalers side, we had Weaver, LePoudre, and Turnbull out, and Wright, DougE, and AllanZ coming in. So for the Whalers, those 2 goals of the night, Trent scored the first one on, I think it was a breakaway. Then we had an empty netter by Serda to go there. Since I was part of this game, I'll start it out. Even though the Ducks right now are in last place, I think they're what we all thought they were going to be. No one's running them over. Tough games left and right. I think the Whalers did control the majority of the game. I'd say maybe 60% of the game. Obviously, Sugar, he's a beast.
Mm-hmm.
He skates super fast. He has the shots. He's going to get those opportunities. Second line, Rattler was playing a lot of second line for them, so him and Bauer were putting down some opportunities, but those ones I don't think were I didn't feel a whole lot of pressure as like real solid scoring chances there. I think on the Whalers side, like I said, Trent, he kind of had that more of a breakaway type goal. Besides that, I felt like we were peppering, but I don't know, we were kind of the same way we're doing. We're a little bit far out. We're kind of not firing them immediately and giving that goalie some time to square up and get those shots going. So did either of you guys get to see any of this game?
I saw a little bit of it, and I saw what you were saying. Sugar's going to get his chances, man. He's going to get his chances no matter what he does. He's so fast, and he makes his own plays there, and he makes the players around him better. At one point in time, I think it was he dropped the puck back to Jimmy Ellis, and Jimmy had a beautiful scoring opportunity. He just couldn't finish it off. And that's just the type of plays that he's going to make. So you have to account for that no matter where you're at. But you guys countered with great plays yourselves, and like you said, I felt like you guys controlled the puck most of the time. I missed Trent's goal though. Was it? You said it was just a breakaway.
I don't know if it was a full out breakaway.
Okay.
I think I was actually looking at my defenseman at that point
You're
to
like
see if
trying
it
to
was
get
like
a change.
It was more not necessarily to get a change, to see if I was going to get a change, because it was borderline or not. So you want to pay attention there. So it was. I think he got ahead of people and was able to do his move where he goes over to the sides and puts it home. So
Trent's got that long reach, man. It's really tough to defend that, and he's got a great shot too. So you have to respect it.
Yeah.
that can be a pain. But yeah, like I said, it was back and forth there. Dylan, did you get to see much of this game?
Yeah, I got to watch a little bit first and second. I feel like it could have went either way. It was what team kind of made a mistake first, and I didn't see the goal, but obviously the Ducks made the breakdown and Trent capitalized, which is good to see for the Whalers, because it hasn't seemed like they've been able to capitalize on much of anything yet. Haven't got a lot of goals for, so good for them. Camera, Shuddy, go him.
Oh, it was good.
Yeah, go him, man.
Yeah, another thing we'll be interested as the Whalers are on the bye next week. The Whalers still have not had their team completely together yet. So hopefully in 2 weeks we'll actually have that.
Right.
As a goalie, Dylan, playing the Whalers, what have you kind of seen from that offense, and why were you able to stop them?
Well, you guys won, so I wasn't able to stop you guys. But the biggest thing I've noticed is that you guys need to get more dirty with the play. You know, you guys like to finesse a little too much. I think you guys need to have a stacked first line with Trent, Peso, and DaveP. Have DaveP go in the corners, get that puck out, feed it up to Peso, feed it up to Trent. Have DaveP or Trent get in front, get dirty with it, and knock some rebounds home. I mean, Trent almost had a goal on me in the second period last game. I had a lucky pad stop, but that's what you guys need more of, I think.
That's fair. Now, Cone, you did beat the Whalers. What did you see from back there against us?
I'm trying to think back to that game. That was a couple weeks ago. I think it was 2-0, right, or something like that. It was right after you guys came right off the bye week. I remember that now. Yeah, and man, you guys have shooters on that squad and a fast team with Serda playing up there. That's what always makes me nervous, is that Serda can blow past like a lot of the defenders in our league because he's so quick and he's got good hands. So that always makes me a little nervous. But it seems like you guys, a lot of your chances are one and dones.
Mm-hmm. I can see that, and a lot of what I've been seeing, and as someone probably who has a lower IQ in the league as far as hockey goes, I see we're taking a lot of shots in the circle, closer to the face-off circle, not just the whole outside circle, where we get the puck, our guys trying to load up on that shot and kind of aiming for it, and they're like pausing a little too much, and we're allowing that goalie to get a nice square up, and we're not making them where they're moving around and getting shots past them. I don't know if I'm wrong there. It's my imagination. And then, like you said, at the preseason, we were getting some nice rebounds. We were in the right spot. I think those ones are just a little bit more unlucky, but it could be. It's always a tough thing. I know when I play forward, if I'm trying to play dirty in front, like screens and all that, sometimes you're in too close for that rebound, so you want to be a little farther out. So those could be unlucky, but then those screens and everything else can help have a goal be scored. So I don't know how you feel about players in the net versus in other areas. Like Justin Wright, in my opinion, he's gotten super good to get to the right spot, not right in front of the net, but kind of the side where a rebound actually comes out right to him where he can hammer it home.
Exactly. And it's funny because I always kind of, I feel like he gets tired of me yelling at him because I'm always like, dude, crash the net. He's like, I am. And I'm like, no, you're not crashing that, because I expect a guy to crash the net to literally be plowing into me the way people do against me, or the way I do when I skate out. But in all reality, you're right, man, because when there is that rebound, it goes past you and you can't bury it.
Well, you need a double dose. You need somebody to get in front of the goalie, get his vision all fucked up.
Yeah.
And then you need a guy right there to pound it home. And also you need a defenseman knowing what he's shooting at. If I can see the puck's going to hit me in the chest, I got that all day.
Yeah. It's
all day.
Gobble it up. No rebounds.
Yeah, exactly. So
keep it down. Keep it on the pads.
Exactly. Get it on the pads. Get me kicking it out, and then boom, right there. So you got to kind of have the forward's got to know what the defenseman's going to do, or the defenseman's got to read the play. So hey, I see blah 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 sitting right there. I'm going to shoot it, low, kick it out, bingo bango.
And I think like a line that worked for most of the spring last year was for the Spitfires was Serda centering it with Peso and then me on the wing. And so Peso was able to kind of be that guy. He didn't have to be the net front presence guy being annoying. Serda got to control the puck. Peso got to shoot it, and I just wreaked havoc out front, skating out.
Yeah.
So it's tough, man. You gotta have role players. You have to find that balance of guys and that want to do it. It's tough to ask a guy in beer league hockey to be like, bro, you have to come here every Monday night and get dirty out in front of the net.
Get your ass in front of the net. Have pucks hit you in the ass and in the stomach.
Have goalies chopping at your legs.
Yeah.
We're not getting paid for this shit, but at the same time, like, you want to fucking win.
Yeah, exactly.
Over on the Ducks side, what do you think they have to do to start winning?
Man, they need some secondary scoring. Poor Sugar.
Do you have to split up that Ben and Sugar line as of right now? I mean, it's tough right now, especially with Turtle.
Right.
At least it sounds like a couple more weeks being out of. You want to give those guys help, but at the same time, if that second line isn't, producing all the time, is it better maybe to have a top-level guy that kind of knows the other? Like if you have a Bauer and a Ben.
I wonder if like Bauer and Sugar would do well together. I don't know if they've tried that out yet, because Ben's a good enough hockey player that like he makes shitty hockey players like myself look good.
Yeah, I like
he's
Ben
such a good passer.
Yeah.
And he's always looking to do that first.
See, I'm the opposite way, where he makes you look good, but he makes me look bad because he throws a perfect pass to me that I should grab and bury home, and I miss it, and all of a sudden I'm just
that
like,
happens too, right?
Fuck.
You're like,
Turtle does that too, to be fair.
He's
And I'm just
never
like,
gonna
why do you
pass it to
keep
me.
passing me the puck? Don't give me the damn puck.
I think a big thing is that second line wants to get Turtle back because we lost to him.
Yeah.
And the big thing with their success was that just grind line. Throw it on net, getting those rebounds, getting those dirty, filthy rebounds, and also keeping us. I forget who was playing goalie that night, but I think key to their success is going to be gritty goals, and then you're going to have Sugar going off. Sugar needs to get at least 1 a game, 2 a game, and then you're going to have the goalie and defenseman playing great. And if that second line can get 1 or 2 and keep it, the goalie can keep below 2 goals a game, that's their success right there.
Yeah, the only other thing I would possibly consider doing is maybe you move Rubel up. I mean, I know he plays a lot of offense, like from the defensive spot, but he's a highly skilled player. Throw him up there. If you have another player that can play back,
that's the thing, though. Who are you going to put back there?
Yeah,
that's good as Rubes.
I mean, all I'm saying is you guys.
You're asking a lot out of your goalie then to take. Let's be honest, Rubel's their star defenseman.
Yeah,
they got Bronny too, but
he's a great two-way.
They have solid defensemen all the way around on that team.
They do.
Where they should be able to do that. I'm just trying to think of, like, how do you produce that offense and slow things down? I mean, Oliverdes, he's a good player. Gibb's a good player. Bronny's a good player. You're probably going to have to move someone. You need Turtle back, or you sub in a defenseman for Turtle the next couple of weeks to do that.
You could.
But I'm just trying to
give it a
think of,
shot.
like, how you can get those forwards. Like, all of a sudden, Turtle's gone. You say, I'm going to sub in a defenseman the next couple of weeks. I move Rubel up the next couple of weeks to see if that helps generate anything on those other lines. You're going to get a solid defenseman. Rubel was 26 overall. There's going to be 27 and below.
Right.
You're going to have good opportunities there. I'm just trying to think. Like, you got to shake it up. We were talking before on the podcast that you're probably looking at somewhere between 16 and 18 points to make the playoffs. There's 2 teams within like 3 to 4 points of there. It's starting to be go time where either you're going to have to make a big trade coming up soon, or you're going to have to start really shaking up those lines, because as good as lines look, as good as teams look, if you're not actually getting points, you're not getting points.
Right.
Well, I think it's kind of like the Whalers and the North Stars at this point. They just need to get goals. They got the players. They just got to get rolling.
Deeks are in the same boat, man.
Yeah, you guys just got to get rolling. Pucks on the net, every angle, just get shots, get that confidence up.
Right.
And once you net a couple, get everybody's confidence going, man. It's a tough thing to stop. Once
A
you
guy
get the
you
ball
mentioned, Piercy, was Gibb on defense. I don't get a chance to play with him very often because he goes in the same slot where Panny normally goes, usually.
He's subbed for you guys a couple of times.
He subbed in for us tonight, and man, he's always talking back there to me, and he's always talking where it's going, what he's doing, what he's seeing, what he thinks I'm seeing. It's like it was kind of refreshing to hear that. It's like that's a guy that's like, man, I wish he could be on my team, but he's also like at the same spot that my GM is. So
Yeah.
He's always on my big board, like, oh, maybe he'll slip, but he never does.
Yeah, it can be tough there because there's same type of thing where, being on that turn, sometimes you can play, but there's the people like the Map, the Brennans, the Gibb, Leroy, like all of us seem like the last couple of years, we've all went right in those same couple spots. If you're lucky, you're going to play with one of those guys, but you're never going to be on a team with a bunch of them, which maybe you don't want to be since you're all, 7th, 8th rounders, type of thing. But it's like, you like those guys, you like playing with them. It's fun, but you're not going to play with them all the time.
Right.
So our next game on the agenda was the Golden Seals versus the Americans. The Golden Seals pulled it out in a shootout, 2-1. This is actually working out nice tonight because we have someone from every game. So we're going to go over to Dylan for his recap of the game.
All right, well, from what I've seen from the first part, it was even. Both teams were coming at each other. Both goalies played pretty fucking great, I would say. Pat myself on the back a little bit. But Proctor came down. Proctor came down. He got a good one against me. And then it's kind of been our theme all year. If we don't score right away, we kind of have no confidence. I've been screaming at my team, we got to get pucks in first. We got to get the first goal, get rolling. As soon as we get rolling, we're unstoppable. I mean, look, once we got that first one on you guys, it was like a total onslaught.
Right.
Yeah, and then last game, same thing. They scored. We kind of got down. Me and Whoop kind of just did the rah-rah, cheer thing in the third, and then we finally netted one back. That game could have went either way. Great
How was
shootout.
Proctor's goal? It was 1-1, and then you guys won 2-1 in the shootout?
Yeah.
How was it a breakaway? Or?
It was a breakaway, and then I thought he was coming glove side, and he just kind of fluttered it blocker side, and I fucked up.
Dude, he's so good at that.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
so...
As someone who didn't think there was going to be anyone representing this game, I tried to watch the majority of that game in the second half of the games.
Right.
I would actually say I thought the Americans outplayed the Seals the first 2 periods. Not by a lot, but they did. They got the goal early on.
Mm-hmm.
There's a beautiful play that wasn't a goal where it was beautiful. Antioch was in the defensive zone. He backhanded it up in the air. Proctor knocked it down with his stick, skating down the ice. All of a sudden, he does a cross the ice. Antioch made up that distance, backhanded it, posted it to not go in.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
you know what? Rubel was telling me about this at the Blue
It
Light
was
Party
one of the
deck. He said
prettiest
it went
plays
post
I've seen.
down or
Yeah,
something.
I got lucky. I got lucky on that one big
you,
time.
you tapped the post after
Yeah,
that one?
give it a little smooch, you know.
It was amazing. There was also a nice play where Jumpin' Jim it was a 2-on-1 Jumpin' Jim and Proctor. Jumpin' Jim decided to take it himself and
Good for
shoot on
him.
the puck.
You know what? Proctor gets enough of those. Jumpin' Jim he needs to take one for himself. Dude, that happens sometimes. As a goalie, you're looking at it and you're like, man, this low level guy, he's gonna pass the puck to
Oh,
Proctor,
yeah.
right? You're like,
You're cheating.
I'm gonna cheat. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I'm not respecting this shot.
Uh-huh.
And then he
For the
might sneak it
record,
in.
I
way
know
to do
exactly
it.
how that goes. On Friday, with the Worms, there was a puck that went off against the boards. I was skating. I was able to grab it, and it was
Yep.
might have been a 2-on-none. I don't even know.
Yes,
With me
it
and
was a
Peso,
2-on-none, yeah.
and in my mind, I'm just like, this is a lose-lose situation. If I shoot it, I'm not going to score. Peso's going to yell at me. I'm going to pass it, and it's going to be a shitty pass, and then Peso's going to yell at me.
You went with the ladder, yeah.
So I was like, to me, I was like, don't hold it. Don't wait for the crossover to let him finish. Get it to Peso as soon as possible to let him be able to then make a move and do his own thing. Well, Peso was opening up as I'm passing him the puck, and it was a bad pass on my part. And yep, Peso yelled at me. So I can definitely relate when it comes to that. So
Yeah, and then our goal, we had Pfister comes in the zone, makes a decent pass over to Skillman. Skillman corrals it along the boards and pass over to ShauneE, and ShauneE just buries it. I mean, we were knocking on the door all game. You watched some of it. I mean, we had chance after chance after chance. I mean, if it wasn't Antioch, if the wide open net standing there, just hit him, you know, or J-Flo making outrageous saves, and it was...
yeah, the third period I'd give you guys the advantage on, but that last 5 minutes of the game or so, 3 to 5 minutes,
Oh, yeah.
both teams were 100% full board, back and forth, chance after chance. It was fun to watch,
hockey,
and
yeah.
it was kind of scary as watching those two teams of like, oh, this is what they could do, the two of them together. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want them doing this against us. But, yeah, ended up going to a Bender overtime. Those are always fun to watch. I think we should keep it like that all year outside of the playoffs personally, but that's a whole nother subject. Then we went to a shootout. It was like 6 to 8 rounds, something
Yeah,
like that.
something
It
like
went
that.
a while.
Yeah.
Finally,
Rattler
buried one home.
So like,
baby.
no one scored at all. It wasn't like a back and
Nope.
forth. It was just
Nope, no one scored at all.
just
and
eggs the whole way.
Yep.
Yeah, he scored, and then it came down to, I don't even remember who was the last person, but Dylan made the save, and then he stood up real tall, and
I
he gave the
saw
cross
that.
arm pose
Yeah.
like he thought he was all big and bad, Mr.
Gangster.
Carey
Confident.
Price, baby. So Carey Price action.
Well, I mean, realistically though, after 6 to 8 saves on the shootout, you probably were feeling pretty good about yourself right there.
Well, that too, and also I thought, obviously it's 1-0 the whole game, and I'm kicking myself in the ass like, why couldn't you just make that fucking save? Why can't you make a save? My team fucking bails me out, and then they give me a one, fucking up in the shootout. It's all up to me,
Yeah.
and then I fucking come through for the team. I was on cloud fucking 9, baby.
Dude, that's it, man.
Yeah, I was on cloud 9. I got the win for the boys. You know what I mean?
you cost me a perfect bracket on Pick'em this week.
Yeah, good to go. You bet against the Seals. Hey, you deserve to get that bracket busted.
Hey, it's all good. I don't blame you there.
So what's the word on the general? I mean, that's 2 weeks out in a row. Is he?
I
is
don't
he
know.
hurt, or is he just not feeling like playing hockey? Or
I have no clue. I think something with the baby. He's
Okay.
got to be with the baby. I could be
Okay.
totally wrong. But Skillman's been jumped in perfectly.
Hot take theater. Skillman's jumped in a little too perfectly.
Hey,
if you ask me.
Hey, we subbed down.
It's a sub down. I agree with you. It's
Rules
within
are
the
rules,
rules.
sub down.
It's within the rules. I'm not going to bitch about it. I mean, it's within the rules.
We
but
don't
it's-
re-rake players throughout the season.
don't.
Rules are rules.
That's
you know,
how
you
good our
don't.
GM is. That's how good our GM is.
Uncle
Hey,
Whoop.
Uncle Whoop, man.
Yeah, subbing up when you're subbing down.
Yeah, something like that.
So the last game of the evening was the North Stars versus the Nordiques. North Stars won this game in overtime 2-1. Drager, Brennan were out. Gibb, Myers were in. North Stars were full. We actually got a voicemail from Mr. Troy Otto
Oh, great.
that I think we're going to play right now before we comment on the game. So let's hear what he had to say. Hold on. So let's start by, of course, it's because my computer wanted to restart right now with an update. Remind me tomorrow.
Hey, everybody. Sniper Otto. Sorry I couldn't make it tonight. Just wanted to leave a little voicemail. I did not call to brag about the North Stars being the hottest team in Monday Night Lights. I did not call to brag about my 2 goals or that people are starting to call me Mr. OT around the rink. That's not the purpose of this call. What I am calling about is Mrs. Gio. Gio told all of us on Friday night at WBW that Mrs. Gio listens to the podcast, but she likes to hear not just the good, but the bad. So when Gio does bad, she wants to listen, and she wants more. She wants him to hold his feet to the fire, make him a better man. So I didn't feel comfortable doing that, but I was able to place a call to Italy, and this is what we got. Hey, everybody, this is Grandma Gio. I just calling to comment on the hockey game. I watched the game, and I see that my boy Gio, he looks so beautiful, like a red, shiny Ferrari. I'm so happy that he's lost some weight. But instead of shooting the ball over the net like Roberto Baggio in the World Cup, you got to get the Ferrari dirty. Go to the dirty area to score some goals. Remember that captain of the North Stars last year. Listen to him. He loves you. He had you the top 5 in scoring. Now I look at the stat sheet, I can't even find my Gio. It makes me so sad. So, this is Grandma. I look forward to seeing you around the holidays. I'll keep the peanut butter on the top shelf where you like it. Arrivederci. Ciao, ciao. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Grandma Gio, everybody. So I'm just going to say this. I call it a hunch. That was an imposter because we all know it's Nutella
It's
on the
Nutella
top
on the
shelf.
top shelf. I was about to say the same thing.
So, as
Someone's-
convincing as that message was, there's just little clues you got to look for there. But
Gio's probably stirring right now about that. He's like, oh, Jer, it's not peanut butter. It's Nutella.
the Nutella. Have you ever heard about that? Nutella on the top shelf. But yeah, I forget if we said that. Troy, he had a goal in
2 goals.
You didn't let me finish.
Oh,
Goal in
sorry.
regulation, and then Pete was able to tie it up later in the game. And Troy and Bender OT had a goal as well. But let's kick it over to Mr.
No offense,
Jeremy.
Connor. Pew, pew, pew. Pew, pew, pew,
Yeah.
pew.
Yeah.
Let's
Troy,
kick it
buddy,
over to
for you,
Jeremy,
buddy.
Jeremy Conner to hear your take on the game since you were the one that saw things from your goalie position.
I thought that game was a good battle, man. I was talking to a couple of guys on our team after the game and throughout the day today even. I woke up this morning like sore. It was like one of the hardest games I felt like we've played. And I feel like everyone, for whatever reason, every season elevates themselves when they play the North Stars. It's something to do with Troy, I think. they want to play well against the North Stars. And it was no exception last night.
Now, Troy,
Yeah.
first he got the first goal, then he
Yeah.
got the OT goal.
Yeah.
If there was anybody else on the team that you wouldn't want to score, was there anybody you'd rather not score on you than him? Because I know just the way he is, I'm not calling to talk about the North Stars being the hottest team in the league. I'm not scoring about my 2 goals, or I'm not calling about this, da-da-da, The farthest thing from humble brag you can get right there is Mr. Troy Otto. As I've talked about in the past, is Troy's a poor sport when it comes to winning and losing. So he's an equal opportunity offender.
As much as I would want to say anyone but Troy, I really do have to give it to him. The first goal was a beautiful tip. I think Cunningham took the shot. I'm not positive. And it was a great tip. It was going right into my chest, and he tipped it right about the face-off dot to the glove side. And I got a piece of it, but not enough of it. And then the overtime goal was he followed his own rebound. He got a nice pass, I think, from his brother, and he rang it off the post. And I heard the post, and I'm like, oh, it's my lucky day. Troy's not scoring 2 on me. And I try to track that puck, and I'm looking all over for it. And where is it? Right on Troy's fucking stick again. And he had a wide open net at that point. He just buried it. So I'll give it to him. They were 2 good goals. They weren't dirty. If they were dirty goals and I felt like I should have saved them, it would suck. But it does suck.
Where credit's due, eh?
Yeah, you know what? It does suck letting in 2 goals to Troy, but at least they were good goals.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit. They're not going to keep me up at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, word on the street was Ty had the assist on both those goals. Give him credit for there. So it was an auto points bonanza last night.
At one point in time, they rolled out a Cunningham centering the Otto brothers, and I was like, he's going to demand a fucking trade. But
I haven't talked to Darren in a couple weeks, so I don't know. Thanksgiving, I'm sure I'll get some insight on that.
Maybe, yeah.
My fear is that all of a sudden he'll buy in on the auto the auto rhetoric, and I'll be like, oh no, what just happened?
been converted.
Yeah. So after the game, I was hearing some talk coming from there that the North Stars felt like they totally dominated this game. They were claiming that the Deeks were lucky that if they had 10 shots on net all game.
What was score going to OT?
1-1.
1-1?
Same as yours, yeah, 1-1.
Okay.
So it sounds like you thought maybe it was a slight advantage towards them, but they're feeling like it was a big advantage. What are your thoughts there?
I would say they probably did control more of the play, but when we got chances, they were usually pretty good chances. I felt like a lot of times we controlled maybe the puck possession, but we weren't getting shots on goal. If that kind of makes much sense, like we had control going through the neutral zone. They had probably more shots, but almost all of their shots were one and done opportunities. They didn't very often, except for their one goal, set up shop in our zone.
Yeah.
So it kind of depends on which way you want to look at it. As far as time as possession goes, I think we probably owned it 60-40. As far as shots are concerned, it was probably more like 70-30 them. Because I did feel like I was getting a lot of shots, but they weren't they weren't, I think Suits had a couple quality chances, but they weren't like, oh man, I really got lucky on that save.
Yeah.
I saw them the whole way, They could have beat me if I maybe was a little slower or whatever, but I was able to see him. So it was, like I said, it was a good game, man. It was a good battle.
But good week of MNL. I mean, a 2-0 game, but one of them was an empty netter, so essentially a 1-goal game there. We had 2 other games go into overtime, lots of close games. I think that's very good for MNL as a whole, as you don't want to go in there and get blown out every week. But let's move on to the Troy power rankings of the night. We'll go through them. Them real quick, then we'll go around the room, say if there's anything that we super agree with, disagree with, or just on. So power rankings for him, he had the Seals number 1, Americans 2, Whalers 3, North Stars 4, Tigers 5, Nordiques 6, and the Ducks 7th. So I'll start with this one real quick. I feel like the Tigers, they have a bye week, they get dropped. I think that's kind of off on them. I think them and the North Stars should drop. I'll give it to him letting the North Stars be higher than the Nordiques as of right now, just because of head-to-head matchups.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a hard time questioning the Whalers. Now, we are back to being tied for 3rd place in points as well, but we still have one of the worst goal differentials in the league. We still we scored 2 goals, but our goals for are still there. We have to figure that out. I do agree with most people that our talent is there, but we still haven't fully figured out that side of things.
Well, you guys have got Cameron right now. Cameron's been keeping you guys in for the most part.
Exactly. Seals and Americans, you can't argue there. Seals won the matchup last night, so you have to put them in at number 1. Cone, your thoughts on the power rankings?
I've been saying Seals number 1 since
Thank you.
pretty much the beginning. I think I subbed in a game for the Ducks right off the bat, and I subbed in Nat, and I was like, "Oof, those guys are for real."
Yeah.
Kind of gambled a little bit putting Z back on defense, and it's paid off
worked out
huge, man.
tremendously.
He's an athlete, dude. Like he's in great shape.
Yeah.
It was only a matter of time before he'd figure it out. So it's awesome. It's good for them. And like you said, they won the head-to-head. So you got to give it to them.
What are your thoughts of the Tigers getting dropped to 5?
That's brutal, dude. Who's above them?
North Stars.
He put the North. I get it. He was coming off he scored both their goals. It was a 2-1 overtime win. He's high on his boys. No, Tigers are better than the North Stars.
It's an auto world, and we're all living in it.
Yeah.
Let's face facts.
We're lucky that he lets us show up to the rink on Mondays. Yeah.
Dylan, what are your thoughts on the power rankings?
Well, I think the Tigers are too low. I mean, Matt Taylor, right?
Yeah.
Matt Taylor. With him being there, he played against us. He was in that guy's good. That guy can wheel and fucking deal, man.
He can elevate the puck really close to the goalie better than anybody else in the league.
Yeah. I mean, and when he gets that puck, he's quick. He can take it end to end. The guy's good. So, say from here on out, if he plays every single game, Tigers, I think, are going to be above the Americans if he comes to play every single week. I mean, look, they played. I was in net. Tigers played the Americans without Matt Taylor, but Pete subbed in. We beat him in OT.
Right.
And no offense to Pete. Pete's a great player, but I would say Matt Taylor is overall just a better player. You know, so
that's always the hard thing with the Tigers as well is Matt Taylor. He made a mysterious appearance in Slack about a week ago saying I wish I was there more, boys, but I've been with work. I don't know what he does, but if he's traveling for work, it's hard to. Everybody works. Everybody has a job. If you got to travel for work, there's nothing you can do. It kind of sucks, and I'm sure he'd rather be playing hockey. But
Skillman's been telling me though it's all been last minute. I guess he's been going to Florida last minute for IT work or something like that.
Yeah, which is hard, but at the same, it's gonna be weird because if he's missing a lot of games, and as long as they still make the playoffs, and all of a sudden if he can make the playoffs every week, who the hell knows what could happen there? Because we still, with him only showing up 2 weeks. I don't think we truly know what the Tigers are right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, we don't. We really don't. And I mean, kudos to them. Like I said, when they don't have Matt Taylor, they've still been able to produce. Yeah. That's huge. I mean, imagine if you've been missing your best player for all but 2 games, and it's been tough to produce.
They've been missing a lot of guys, though. I mean, it's not uncommon for them to have 4.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting if that trend continues with that new sub rule. I'd like to say hi to Ty real quick, who said in the chat, we're going to light Dylan up next week. So he's talking shit to you guys.
Bring it, buddy. Bring it.
He's going to score his first goal.
Hey, eat your Wheaties, eat your spinach. You're going to need it. You're going to need it.
Mr. Ty Otto, who's supposed to be on the podcast 2 weeks from tonight as well. So that'll be interesting. We'll have to have HR here to make sure he stays in line.
Yeah, have the dump button ready.
Yeah. Let's go over the standings on the right now. So Golden Seals right now are in first place with 15 points. Americans second, 14. Then we have the Nordiques Whalers with 10. Tigers 9. We have the North Stars 8 and the Mighty Ducks with 6. One thing to remember in these standings are the Tigers have only played 6 games where everybody else has played 7. So their points are a little bit lower than they might be otherwise. We kind of got to go through that cycle again to match up to see where they are. Obviously, the big news here is those bottom couple teams, with the last place team not making the playoffs. Ducks, 6 points, 2 behind the North Stars. What do they have to make a trade? Do they have to mix stuff up? What do they need to do?
I would love to see a trade. I would love to see something happen here. And there's teams that want to be buyers, but I think minus those top 2 teams, everyone's looking for the same thing. We're all looking for offense.
Yeah.
Who wants to be a buyer?
No.
Well, I know the North Stars is trying to shop somebody.
North Stars have shopped a lot of bodies.
Yeah, that's very true.
They've even shopped Ty for what I said, but apparently Ty has a no trade clause and he wouldn't agree to it. But either way, like I said, yesterday after the game I saw Busta and I was like, is he going to start trying to make some moves? Nothing. He seemed to say no. I don't. It's such a hard thing because, like we've talked about, nobody's ran them over. They've had all close games. They just haven't pulled them out. So do you believe in that squad or do you try to mix it up? And at the same time, goals are relatively low. Like if you look at those standings for our goalies, we have 5 goalies that are just above the whole 2. J-Flow's 5th, 2.14. I don't have all the stats in front of me, but just how low that is, it seems like it's lower than the past.
Definitely lower than the past. Yeah, I mean, I remember season 1, I think we all ended up finishing with like above 3, like well above 3. I think mine was like close to a 5.
So, like, I'm sure it's a combination of all of the above, but goalies have gotten better, defensive have gotten better. I can't imagine it's offensive players have gotten worse. Like, as a goalie, what are you seeing out there?
It's defense has gotten better, man. Defense has gotten a lot better than what we were 2-3 years ago. It's just guys getting used to it, guys playing more, and guys. A lot of the league, we ended up having to drop guys back that maybe didn't really want to be defensemen. And now they've, someone like yourself, like you've embraced that role where like maybe your first season doing it, you were, it was like you're learning it, you make mistakes, whatever. You're getting better at that role. And I think it's starting to show that a lot of those guys are
looking at the stats right now, Hedis is our 7th ranked goalie, and he's got a 2.43. So that's crazy. Our last place goalie on that goals against average is still not even below a 2.5. Like,
yeah,
2.5.
Give me 2.4 in a beer league, and you're winning most games.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's crazy. It's a lot tougher to score. I think a lot of that could have to do with we know each other better. You see someone like a Peso, like, oh, I do my under the legs move, I do this, I do that. Like we
You're
know
not getting
that.
burned by that toe drag anymore.
I mean, it's still hard. Peso's got that shot. There's no doubt in my mind he's gonna start scoring goals there. I like to play with him a little bit.
See, from what I've seen though, big time with like offense versus defense, as the league gets better, defensive strategies pretty much, the better you are defensively, I mean, the strategy is going to come with it.
Do teams have a defensive strategy though? Does any team fully have a strategy, or is it just everybody's playing?
That's what I mean. You really don't need defensive strategy as much as you need offensive strategy, right? Mm-hmm. So like the Ducks, I would say get more nittier and grittier. I mean, obviously have Sugar do, come in, wheel and deal, da-da-da. But how they had success on me was getting in, getting dirty, grind the puck out, and that second line, don't think you're Wayne Gretzky and fucking McDavid. Go out there and play Thomas Holmstrom and fucking grind line, you know what I mean? And that's how you're going to get your goals and have that defense waiting, or just play on your strengths, right? That's what I would say.
Exactly, dude.
And know your strengths.
So we kind of had a little bit of after that loss, it was a quiet locker room last night for the Deeks, and I felt like I had to kind of tell the boys, like, look, there's a reason why Drager and I put that team together. There's a reason why a lot of times I remember listening to the podcast and you guys kind of ripped us for it. They said, "Oh, you should have drafted this guy." You guys went down the road, said this guy was better than that guy, whatever. We drafted certain guys because we wanted a team of guys that weren't going to give up. That's our identity. We got a goalie and 10 guys who are never going to give up on a play, and that's exactly it, dude.
Yeah.
Just not giving up on that, and that's what makes the league so much better these days. Is that stakes are high, man. People want that keg.
Yeah,
people want it, dude.
I mean, it's my first year in it, dude, and I'm fucking.
Dude, you want your name on it?
Yeah,
man. You're thirsty. I already got my name on it. I want to be. Yeah. I want to repeat.
Yeah,
hey, I'm a keg winner, baby. First year ever.
Exactly, dude. The dream team. The dream team, right?
Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, I do think there's people that have played defense. I've never really played defense before. And then 2 years ago, it was like, partially was Whoops like, you're playing defense on WBW. And then secondary, it was like, hey, if I play defense on the Whalers, I don't have to do that whole, 3-man shift on a 2-man spot type of thing. So it all works out in the end.
Well, that's what I mean. You don't need defensive strategy as much. You know what I mean? Come back to that. As much as you need offensive, you got to know where people are going, where people where people's honey holes are at. So on and so forth.
I think there is a little bit of defensive strategy as far as stuff goes. You're trying to make sure that your wingers trust you, not digging down low. Mm-hmm. I think some of the defensive strategy as well could be considered offensive as far as even just dumb passes. Like I feel like people have gotten better. It's just as far as how many times would someone grab the puck in a corner and wrap it around and go to a defenseman, keep it in, and they then slap it in. Where now people are trying to grab the puck, go around with it. Sometimes if you turn it over in the corner, but you're still there and you can stop the guy. That's better than just giving it to a wide open defenseman who can run in and exploit it and get a great offensive chance. So I think even little things like that, we're just getting better as a league. I've been, as dumb as it sounds, I've been trying to watch some YouTube videos on defensive positioning and breakout passes, and like it helped me. Where before I'd be like, "Oh, breakout pass, I got to whip it across,
I'm just gonna whip it
to like get to that starting point." It was like, and a lot of times it'd be like, "Well, I'm actually almost in that position where that first defenseman is, so I almost need to look in the middle, or then look straight ahead where I'm not slapping it across the boards and doing that stupid pass for the almost a breakaway back." Where you start picking up just these small little things. And slowly that just evolves where it helps neutralize scoring.
And I think that goes back to just guys wanting it, dude. Like that's what I'm saying. Like guys are watching YouTube videos, and I mean, what was I doing before I came here? Like I was I went to a yoga class. Like I'm like stretching it out, making sure I'm like ready to go for the next game. You know what I'm saying? Like we got DougE doing his marathons and Gio riding his bike 80 miles a day or something fucking crazy like that. Yeah, like. For beer league, like that's why I do it. People are like, "Oh man, you're trying to lose some weight." No, man, I'm just trying to win another cup.
Yeah, I feel you, dude.
So and it.
I mean what's it makes MNL one of the great things for us because, I think it's the same thing. DaveP, he got the Whalers or set it up so the Whalers could buy our jackets. I go to work, people are like, "What the hell is that jacket? That thing's sweet. Where'd you get that?" It's like, "Oh, that's my Monday night hockey team." They're like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Like at work, I'm like, "Oh, all that guy does is play hockey." It's like,
not really, man. So much more than that. We talk about it on Tuesdays. Then,
yeah. This is a community.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love you boys, man. This is got me back into hockey. I love it now. I've fell back in love with the game. I can't be thankful enough, man. Yeah, truly.
In a lot of ways, it makes me feel kind of like I'm just like, man, I need something else with my life. It's like Monday's MNL. Tuesday's podcast, Wednesd's K-Folks, Friday's the Worm.
You got an off day Thursday. What are you doing then?
Oh God, I pass out because I'm so tired.
But going back to strategy, I think a lot of it is pairings, right? If you can keep your defensive guys together for most of the season, or maybe they've played with each other in the past, that's huge, man. Or maybe they play on another team together. They know where they're gonna be. They know what they're gonna be doing. And then same as And like Dylan, you'll get to this point as a goalie, you start to build a relationship with certain defensemen versus other defensemen. You're probably already starting to develop that rapport with the guys on the Seals. And me being in the league since the beginning, I got my guys that it's like, I trust them. I want them to be there, and I want them to trust me too. If they have a bad play, whatever, dude, I'm not gonna snap my stick over it. Maybe at one point in time, like I used to be an angry goalie, but.
I miss those days for the record. But that comes back to the strategy is how much do you trust your team and you have your lineups and you look at that consistency amongst your team and guys are going to play well together versus we're playing a team and we're worried about line 1 or line 2 and we're going to adjust to try to play against them. Like, what's your strategy there?
I don't like to go into games trying to match up defensive pairings line 1 to line 2. I really don't think it might work for the first period, but it doesn't stay. A line gets stayed out there for a long shift. Proctor does his famous double shift. Things happen, man. Yeah. And it's penalties. It's good in theory, but it doesn't always work out that way. So you want both your guys. I like to have two balanced defensive pairings.
I'm the same way, and I personally prefer to be comfortable with someone.
Yeah.
I think so far.
Who have you been playing with this season?
I've been playing mostly with LePoudre, but nice. He's been on his honeymoon the last couple of weeks, and so far I haven't played with Turnbull at all. But I played with Wright one week, felt pretty good. I actually played with AllanZ this week and felt good there too. So had a lot of nice defensive pairings as far as strategy goes, and I think that just comes down to the league's getting better where Whoop used to yell at me last year of like, you got to open up so I can give you the cross ice pass, D to D pass. And LePoudre loves that. And all of a sudden I've gotten used to it. And all of a sudden, like me and AllanZ, we were doing that through there. And people are getting that more of that skill, more of doing that, moving the puck around, safer passes because you do that. And it just makes the league that much better or harder to score on at least.
Definitely the safer passes is key, man, because you got guys like Proctor who just pick off those bad neutral zone passes and they spring them for breakaways.
Well, that's the best thing. Go D to D, open up the center of the ice,
Yeah, back to the standings. So the North Stars, as we're talking about the bottom, which this always seems to be our favorite topic because they're not the ones who are going to be making the playoffs. Obviously, we got the Golden Seals, the Americans. I think we have 2 people that are going to be on the bye for the first time. They got a nice 4-point edge there, but North Stars, they're 2 points behind as well. Should they be looking to make a move? Are they kind of starting to gel? Should they be feeling good about themselves? What would you be doing if you were them?
I think I said it the last time I was on the podcast too. I wouldn't do a thing if I were the North Stars, really. I mean, I know they're trying to find some magic, some mojo, but they're a good squad, man. And I think they kind of found it. They put Judge back, and I don't know if you were able to come over and watch much of that game, but it makes a difference, man. He's so good being able to control the play from back on defense. I felt like he had more scoring opportunities. Leaves them a little vulnerable. Your wingers have to be very aware that they may need to drop back, but
he takes his chances, but he's a very good two-way
dude, he's so fast that he gets back. It's no it's no big deal.
Get a couple drinks in that man too. He gets pretty cocky. If you listen to last week's podcast,
I had to drop, man. That got a little rowdy.
Yeah, you gotta love Judge, man. Good guy, good dude,
good guy.
Funny story. Maybe people won't find it funny, but for Dylan, Drager actually was like, I'm done. I'm listening to the 22 podcast, 100 45 minutes in. I can't go any longer. We're too far gone. I go into the iTunes statistics and it shows average time people listened 146 or something. He's just like, I was like, oh, you're right on pace with everybody else in the league. It's just like, oh, okay.
I'm out.
I love that podcast, man. I was rooting for you guys. Keep going. Give Fister more questions.
Oh, God. Yeah, I wasn't feeling good the next day. So real quick, as we start to close out a little bit, I looked at a couple targets as far as we're talking about. We're getting to the point where people are going to have to start making moves or all that. Like if I'm looking at each team, who should you be targeting? So a couple of Piercy targets. My first one on the list would be for the Americans. I'm looking at Dave Cipps, the man. First couple years he's in the league, he's somewhere between a 5th and a 6th rounder consistently. He's leading second line, scoring goals. He's had a little bit of injury bad luck, and he's been missing. All of a sudden, he slips to a late 8th round pick, and he's been out the majority of the year. I think he's played 1 game. But if you can get that guy on your team, and he's healthy by the playoffs, I think he could contribute for that team.
Definitely, yeah. When he starts to weeble and he wobbles, man. Have you had the opportunity to go against him?
No, not yet.
Dude, I don't know how he does it. He just goes to the zone. He has no idea where he's going, and he somehow gets this like weird shot off, and it goes in.
Yeah,
like it doesn't matter what you do.
The only issue that I see with that trade is we know now it's sub down. Wilkie's been coming in a lot for Cipps, plus subbing down is if you're trading for him, you essentially have to make sure you're giving a higher quality than a Wilkie as that sub piece. So that's the only difficult thing about trading for Cipps there.
Yeah, it would have to be a team that feels really comfortable with that. And so it would have to be a team that's already pretty comfortable where they're at in the standings, like the Seals maybe or something. But I don't see you guys wanting to have to make,
Honestly, I don't think anybody needs to trade in the league right now. I think everybody, like I said, just needs to figure out their niche and just run with it. That's me personally.
Looking at the
trades are fun.
Yeah. I'm not trying to be a buzzkill here.
Looking at the stats for this year, is there a team that maybe has scored a lot of goals but also let in a lot of goals? I know it's probably not.
If anything, the Americans 25. They've let in 17, which is tied for the second most. Mighty Ducks have let in 20, only scored 13. But outside of that, we got 17 for the North Stars and
I'm thinking
Americans.
I'm thinking a team like that's putting up a lot of goals, but also letting in a lot of goals. They're going to be maybe willing to like go with one of their offensive centerpieces to acquire a defenseman or maybe even a goalie. We've never had a goalie trade.
Ooh.
Oh wait, no, yeah, we did last year. Wasn't Officer Aaron traded?
Yeah, I think with J-Flow. Didn't the Whalers get J-Flow last year in a trade?
Fuck, I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure that's true. So my next target on the list these are people that I think are undervalued that possibly, I'm not saying could be had or being shopped, but I would make a run for. Nick Myers, one of my preseason favorites. He's been playing a decent amount of defense again. I feel like he's that forward. He's probably, your first to second guy on your second line. I feel like someone, he's playing the wrong position, possibly trade him for another defenseman, move him to the forward. All of a sudden you have a little bit extra offense on your second line.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Myers, we had him on defense last night, and I agree with you. Every time I see him, I'm like, you'd be a better forward. And it's nothing against his defensive play. It's just, I think he brings something to he sees the vision offensively pretty good.
Myers is one of those guys. He'll play where he's needed. He's like a Weaver or somewhere else where he'll play defense if needed, but he's probably a better forward.
Yeah.
Which kind of leads me to my next guy that should be possibly gunned for, Mr. AllanZ. He's been playing defense for the Seals. Natural forward. He's got a great shot. He can put home in the net. You try to make that trade as a defenseman, possibly for another defenseman, and then you slide him over to your forward and try to get some extra goals on that line.
I would hate to see him go. I've never seen him play forward, but he's jumped in fantastically as a defenseman. I mean, I can't give him enough praise. Any team would be lucky to have him. I don't know who we would trade for him. Like I said, first year in the league.
This is who GM should be targeting on other people's teams.
Yeah. I mean, they should
offer.
But
if the Seals were to do that, they would get the opportunity to maybe pick up a true defenseman. You know what I'm saying? Because he's, and then that team that then trades for them would slide AllanZ up to forward, but then they would need to have a fourth defenseman on their squad somewhere.
Yeah.
This isn't like we have like a minor league system. We'll pull him from the Sundays in Oak Park.
Yeah. Any team would be lucky to have him. He's a great guy. He's been playing great. He jumped in that role fantastically. Like I said, I hate to see him go, and any team would be lucky to have him.
Don't give Panny any ideas either about having a minor league system. He would totally jump on that.
Oh my God. This is going to bring me to my next guy on the list. Everybody's favorite trade target. Probably been traded more than anybody in the league. Mr. Peso Monet. I think he has 5 assists on the year, so he's still producing Paso Monet, as Troy likes to call him.
Good old El
but
Paso.
No goals. If you're a GM, should you be targeting that man?
I know Panny tried kicking the tires with the Whalers. I don't know how far it got. I've always been high on Peso just because he's one of the guys I hate playing against. So I'd rather have him on my team than have him going against me. And I know he's capable of way more than 0 goals and 5 assists. It is nice to see though that he's still passing the puck around and getting involved in the play.
I think I was telling Peso this the other day. I was like, I would not trade you for anything because just out of spite, I know if he gets traded, all of a sudden he's going to start lighting up goal after goal after goal, and he's going to put it to the Whalers right there. So he'd turn on the revenge tour and just light us up.
It's possible, but season 2, the Deeks traded for him. It's when we traded Cunningham away. What was it? Cunningham and Marvin for Peso and I don't remember. Anyway, he became a Deke, so he was on the Seals. They weren't winning, and then it was this time of year too. Then he comes over to the Deeks, and we finished the rest of the season. I think we only won like 2 games. But
yeah, Peso's a guy I'm not trading just because, like I said, I know at least in my mind, I think we traded him from the pause, and all of a sudden he lit it up.
Definitely, dude. He tries to go for that, and I remember on the Deeks that team, he was lighting it up. We just weren't winning. We had no. That was the year that we had no goalies, and
yeah, but right now would be the time to trade for him though. As he's got no goals right now, and he can light it up. He can turn that corner and get a hot streak going. So,
going over to the North Stars, I'd be looking at Marvin Booker. I feel like that guy is a defenseman. He's got a lot of offense in him, and he likes to rush the puck. I also feel like he's underrated. I think he played some college hockey in his life. He's got those beautiful back crosses on him, all that. When I watch him skate, I'm just like, why can't I skate like that? I feel like he's kind of that underrated guy this year on the North Stars you haven't heard anything about. Maybe you could get him cheap on, without the North Stars realizing as they're looking for some desperate move.
Yeah, that's possible, and you're right. I still always think of him as a Duck for whatever reason. Last year. Was it last year he was on the Ducks?
I think he was on the Ducks possibly 2 years.
Maybe.
We all feel sorry for anybody going to the North Stars, realistically, though. So
yeah, no, that's a really good possibility for the North Stars, and that's a guy that, like you said, and he's always communicating with his goalie, and I like I said earlier in the podcast, I love it when guys do that.
Yeah.
Ty claims he's having the time of his life right now, which I have a hard time believing.
But he won. Of course he is. Dude, there's nothing better than on a Tuesday after a win in MNL.
Oh, yeah.
I roll on into work a little late,
Oh, yeah.
little hungover, just blaring fucking Kesha. and I just look at him like, what? What are you going to do about it? I'm fine. We won.
Yeah.
The boys won last night. So I don't blame him.
We die young, baby. We die young.
Moving over to the Ducks. If I'm a GM, I'm looking at Bauer. Haven't seen him done a ton this year. I played with him on the WEW in the summertime. I've seen him score some goals, make some good plays. I feel like he's someone who's probably undervalued on that second line right now. When you talk about the Ducks, you're talking about, oh, that's the Turtle line and nobody else, or that's the Rattler line and nobody else. I beg to differ. I think there's some other talent on there. You know, you look to you try to steal him and you give him someone else.
I think Bauer paired with a shooter is the best way to go about it. If you can pair him with a guy like Peso, because he's going to make the play, and then Peso can just do.
And maybe that's
thing.
what you're talking about earlier. You throw him with a Sugar,
Right.
and you move Ben over, and you try to give ShauneE or Sean Sugar,
Right.
another player there, but not necessarily Ben, and then have Ben run that line up at the other line.
So we were at a side note. We were at a family wedding this weekend, the Sugar family, and the whole family started calling us Sugar and Cowboy because of the broadcast that Ben and Turtle did. So I really respect the work that those guys did, and I turned them on to the podcast. So I don't know if anyone's going to listen. So hopefully we up our numbers a little bit.
Oh,
Because,
jeez.
because it just made me think of it because you called him Sean, and I was like, who the fuck is Sean? I was like, oh yeah, it's my brother-in-law.
Who's Sean? And then last but not least on the Nordiques, I had a tough time with this because I feel like you guys have a lot of those close relationships where you guys almost won't make a trade because of that. It almost hurts the team in some ways. But I'm going to pick Joey Brennan here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have a lot of defensemen in that same level. Maybe you want to mix it up, try to get someone with a higher forward thing. You'd probably have to do some kind of 2-for-2 thing there. I can't see a straight up forward for a defenseman there. But Panny, him, they're so close to that situation. You want to break something out. He's the one that I'd see him go.
It's possible. And you're right. You're not really going to get a 1-for-1 because we don't really have anyone on our offensive squad that can drop back to defense without. I mean, we're already not scoring goals, so I'm not going to take Pete and make him a defenseman, because that's.
I've seen Pete play defenseman before. It's not actual. You think, as good as he is at hockey
Right.
and how skilled he is all the way around, like he'd just be that dominating defenseman.
Right.
He actually wasn't, to a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if he hasn't played he hasn't played his whole life like that. But so yeah, you're right. If there is a trade to be had there, it's got to be a 2-for-2 where maybe we give up a little bit defensively to gain. They get Brennan, and then we gain up a little bit offensively. It'd be tough. It'd be really tough.
It is interesting to hear, though. You've said you have kicked the tires on people, so you're looking to wheel deal, make some moves.
Nah, not really.
Has the Nordiques? I forget. Have you guys made trades in the past?
We made preseason trades, and then
But that doesn't hurt people's feelings.
that doesn't hurt people's feelings. We did trade season 2.
Oh yeah, you said you traded for Peso.
We traded for Peso, yeah, because we had our boy DaveP in our ear telling us that we had to take my boy Peso. No, I'm kidding.
And didn't you have the Peso DaveP combo? And was that season? You didn't have season 3 was last year, right?
Season 3 was last year, yeah. So season 1 we just had DaveP. We just had DaveP
Okay,
season 1.
yeah, I remember DaveP like bragging about how they were running shit and how they scored more points than anybody, and it was like, you guys have scored you guys have gotten 2 points in the standings in the last 10 weeks. How do you run the shit? And he's just like, you don't get hockey, Piercy.
So I love that guy because he's such a hype man, dude.
yeah.
I could seriously let him 9 goals. He'd be like, yeah, but bro, you made 3 fucking ridiculous saves.
Oh,
I'm
he's
like,
Flavor Flav out there.
I'm like,
He's Flavor Flav.
Cone, I don't care that you had a 30% save percentage and let up 10 goals. You had 2 good glove saves today that were fucking sick.
right.
I love you so much, man. You don't even get it.
Yeah, you gotta love him when he's on your side. When DaveP's on your side, you gotta love him, man.
He's a good locker room guy,
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, good dude. Good dude.
MNL's 80% skill and 20% locker room guy when you're trying to put your team together. You want guys that are gonna fit in and
Realistically, that's one of the things with the Whalers. So we have a good locker room. You know,
Did win or lose?
Cam, Peso, DaveP, Trent, like everybody's like, it sucks to lose, but coming in, we're always positive, everything like that. Everybody's talking. I've been in locker rooms before where you go in there, people are quiet before the game, not saying a whole lot. It's kind of like, okay, what's going on? But
hot take. I heard that's how the Tigers locker room is. It's pretty quiet over there.
Yeah, well, I mean, with so many subs, they probably.
What's our strategy? Who's playing where? I have no idea.
They don't even know who's going to play where. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Did the Wings win?
Yep.
The Wings won 3-1 tonight. Just ruining our draft position yet again.
Yeah, well.
So moving on to next week's games, we have the Golden Seals versus the North Stars, Nordiques versus the Tigers, Americans versus the Mighty Ducks, and we have the Whalers on the bye. So obviously another huge game for the Ducks, playing the Americans who are trying to make their way into first place. It'll be interesting to see what goes on with Turtle. Are they going to try to sub the same person, bring in something new? And then over on the other side, we got the hottest team in MNL, the North Stars versus the Golden Seals, who are in the top of the standings. So,
yep.
Are you going to shut them up on Monday?
I hope so. Hope we keep them below 2. Hopefully my team, I've been trying to get them going. We just need to get rolling that first period. As long as we can get a couple goals in, we're unstoppable. We almost lost to them last time. It was 2-1. It was a good game. I think it's going to be a little bit different outcome. I think our top players, that top line, is going to shell shock Hedis.
Is Uncle Whoop going to tell General to stay home again?
We'll see.
Based on the order of these games, it does look like the 9 o'clock game is the Seals game, which means Mr. Skillman would be available for his second
there we
team.
Go. There we go, baby. There we go.
And then, of course, the Nordiques versus the Tigers.
We lost that game 1-0 last time we played them.
And I still don't feel like we know the Tigers. They've had, half their team's been subs every week. Will that happen again? Is Matt Taylor going to be there?
Matt Taylor scored their only goal on towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
I think I actually subbed for you guys that game.
I think you did. Yeah, I think you were subbing in for Panny. Yeah.
That was frustrating.
Yeah, because we played good, and Officer Aaron stood on his head and had a great game and got.
That was his first game back, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then we got shut out later in the first round through.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's even tough as a sub. You still get pissed off. In some ways, it's just like, oh, is this good, bad for our team? I don't know. It's just like you feel like I let my team. Yeah. You let the people down. They call you in as a sub. You want to get more calls. You want to play good. All that stuff. It just feels awful either way.
So we're tied at 10 points, right?
Correct.
Who we tied? You guys, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you're on the bye. This is a big opportunity for us to maybe put some space in between. Because there's those top 2 teams, and if we can get a W over the Tigers, that can put us closer to that top half of the league than the bottom half of the league. I think this is a pretty big game for us, and it could be potentially a statement game. Because if people are still pretty high on the Tigers as being a good squad.
You guys are on a two lose streak too.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially if Matt Taylor's there, everybody looks everything higher if you beat them at that point.
Right.
I think, like we said, one of the big things going on right now is you want to ensure that playoff spot. You want to get that cushion between yourself and that last place team. Yeah. Right now, both of our teams, the Whalers and the Nordiques, we had a 4-point thing, but the Ducks win their next game and you lose your next game, all of a sudden it's within 1 point. It's right back there. You want to get a little bit higher. So
at this point in the league, I'm looking at who's behind me, not who's in front.
Yeah, it's like if you can get that like a 6-point cushion, then you're like, okay, let's try to look ahead. Let's do that. Like we're good there. But until then, like I still think 16 to 18 points gets you into the playoffs. So.
And something too, we're going through our second round of games right now. There's only 3 rounds of games this season.
Exactly.
So this back in the day, you were going through your second round. It was like, oh, okay, whatever. We're just playing another game. No, we now have split the record with the North Stars because of that loss last night. And that can be what decides you. If you end up with the same amount of points, that's a tiebreaker. So this next round for most teams is going to make a big difference for them if they can control that. Yeah. Because the whole bottom half of that league is only separated by 4 points.
Yeah.
So these who beats who is going to end up being really important.
Who can steal a couple games?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to throw this out there because I don't know if you would know or not without looking at the rules. When's the trade deadline?
Oof, I have no idea. I think it's.
Is there one?
Oh, hell
Oh,
yeah.
yeah?
Dude, we take ourselves way too seriously around
I
here.
love it.
Come on
I
now.
love it. I love it.
Like it would almost feel like the trade deadline would be like at the end of the second
I
round,
think it's at the end of the second round. I think it was somewhere around the holidays.
which
remember.
would make sense, which means we have a couple more games.
Yeah.
And I know in our preseason we had a couple bets of like how many trades are going to be, but it's starting to feel like people are clinching a little bit, and there might be one team, maybe two, that want to make a move, but I don't feel like there's a lot of other trading partners that they're going to find those matches that make sense with.
Now, what do you think the Whalers need to do to kind of turn it around to become that top echelon team? Because
You're sitting right there at 10 points. I mean, we're
Yeah.
tied for third.
I like talent-wise. Obviously, it's hard for me to know what's out there as far as the trade market goes. I think we just got to – I like our lines overall. Maybe we can – our defense, I feel like, is pretty solid. Turnbull's only been back 2 games. Get him in there, hopefully get him consistent, get the rust off him a little bit. But I think just being a little bit more aggressive, having those – the one guy crashing the net and just not – We're
DaveP
talking about
crashing that net, baby.
peppering the goalie a lot, but I feel like a lot of times when we're doing that, if we're gonna pepper the goalie, as soon as the puck gets on your stick, shoot it. Don't let that goalie move.
Yeah.
If you're gonna wait and pause and try to aim it, we're letting that goalie get into a position where they're gonna make an easy save. Either pepper it on there like right away so the goalie's moving and has to then try to save it, or take a couple extra strides, try to get there, make a move to make the
another
goalie
pass,
guess.
pass it back.
Or that other pass there where we just got to be more aggressive, either with the faster shot, making the extra pass, or making the extra couple skates in to do that. I feel like that we got the talent where I don't think one of our hardest games, I think, was against the Deeks, outside of there, but I don't think there's any team that we can't beat. Like, put us against a team. I don't think anybody wants to play us in the playoffs in the first round. I think it's going to be, they're not going to say, oh, we got an easy win here.
Right, exactly, man. And it's crazy. We got 7 goalies in this league, and it's you're not going to beat pretty much any of them on a straight shot that they can see the whole way.
Yeah.
And that hasn't been able to be said in the past. And I think we finally got that now with the 7 guys we got here.
Yeah.
That you got to get them moving, especially because there's some big boys in there.
Yeah.
With you and I, we're both pretty big. I mean, and Aaron's not a small guy. Neither is Ryan Z.
Yeah.
So I mean, we got some bigger goalies, and I mean, poor Cameron's pulling up. He's
Cameron had us,
Yeah. but they're quick.
Yeah,
They you and I kind of play that same style of we're just gonna be big and block most of the net. We're not exactly moving side to side very fast.
Yeah.
But then you got guys like J-Flo, Cam, and Hedis who are maybe the smaller sized.
Ty claims he would love to play the Whalers, but I think that's only because he's scared that they're not going to make the playoffs. So anybody they play, he's just happy that they made the playoffs.
Exactly.
So
Now, what about you, Conor? What do you think the Nordiques got to do to get back on track? Because you guys at the beginning of the league, or beginning of the season, were, gangbusters for the most part.
Yeah.
And then you guys are at, what, a 2 or 3 game losing streak now?
Just 2.
2 games.
I don't even know if it's back on track because we've been a very much of a we win 1, lose 1, win 1, lose 1. Now we've lost 2. So I think it's a little bit more of just finding that identity of who we're gonna be. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not gonna be that team who's gonna back down. You're not gonna beat us based on effort. If you're gonna beat us on skill.
Yeah.
And then that's just it, because we got guys who are high effort guys, and I know they can go there. I know they can go into the corners and dig out those pucks.
it's also going to be interesting because like I said earlier, the Whalers have not played 10 together yet.
Right.
Nordiques have not either with Drager.
No
so
full
is
rookie.
Drager and Brennan now too is battling.
Brennan's been to at least a couple games. So it's my
Yeah,
point.
no, it's been the
Drager
past
hasn't
two-
played a
2
game as
weeks.
of yet, though. So, like, is that a sub up? Will he be 100%? Is it a sub down? How's that going to work?
Right.
Pros, cons for the team. Just getting that chemistry together. Hopefully, I think he was saying he was shooting for possibly next week or the week after.
Hopefully, yeah, he's got a doctor's appointment this week, so hopefully he can play. Hopefully maybe get a skate in or two, maybe for the Birds on Wednesday or something. But
And then on the other hand, shooting it back over to Dylan, obviously you guys are in first place right now, but obviously you wanted to be better. I think as I stated last week, Seals were one of the teams that I was less fearful of after playing you guys as far as impress-wise. So what do you guys have to do to take to the next level to try to make sure you're securing that bye in the playoffs?
I feel like a big one is we play with other teams' talent, right? So if the other team, we play to their level. Another one is, which I've been stressing with our team, is let's go out and let's just push it down their fucking throats, right? Let's get that first fucking goal and let's roll. Because as soon as we get that goal, like you said, the last 5 minutes of that last game, we score, and then we're fucking rolling. We're rolling, all full steam ahead. And that's what it seems to be the most part, just getting our confidence. Because a lot of the games, it's been, I'll let in a squeaker here. I'll let one in if it's good or bad, whatever. And we're playing catch up. And that's going to be the key part of overcoming that. If our team can be confident enough to either overcome that, which we have been for the most part, or number two, if we can come out to that fast fucking start. If we come out to that fast start, no team can touch us, I don't think.
Well, that's another thing I think with the Whalers is we haven't been scoring as many goals as we thought we were going to. Goals are down this year. Mm-hmm. I feel like we just need a couple games where we're scoring 3-4 goals a game, because you start going on, I don't know how this is with the Deeks with low scoring, is you're a period and a half in, you're not scoring a goal. Maybe even let up a goal, but you start tightening up of like, oh God, like what's going on? Like, do we have to worry about defense? Do we have to press stuff a little bit more? And then when you get down a goal in the leagues this tight, you start taking more chances. Then you like let up an easy turnover, but it's like, well, we're averaging 1.2 goals a game. Like, we have to try to make something happen. So is it worth that turnover where we could have got a goal? Like, who gives a shit if we can't score a goal?
See,
like, does
me
it matter?
Personally, I would love that. I think my team kind of packs it in a little bit more. Like, I would love for my team to take chances, because, hey, I'm backstopping you. Go take whatever chances you need to, as long as you're all, like the Mongols. We're full out fucking assault, baby. As long as we're going for goals, hey, I'll back you guys up. If I let in more than, I don't care if there's 1,000 shots. If I let more than 3 goals, point the finger at me. Yeah. It's my fault for losing. So I think my team's been playing great all around, but I think sometimes we need to set up, or we just need to get dirty, or I just think it's the bounces, to be completely honest with you. We just don't get the fucking bounces a lot of the times. Like I said last game, wide open net, Antioch's just sitting there, hits him fucking twice. It's like,
What about on your side, Cone?
I think to what Dylan was saying with your team, the 10 guys in front of you, trusting you as a goalie. I mean, dude, have you ever been to like a pickup game, and you switch about halfway through, and you're like, fuck, I'm getting like peppered, or like maybe you're watching the other goalie being like, man, I don't want to go down there because I'm going to be seeing a ton of shots, and then all of a sudden you flip, and it's like, man, I'm also still not seeing a lot of shots down here. And I think it's because the guys, they change depending on who they, because they feel comfortable or not with their goalie.
Yeah.
And so that's what I want. I want my guys to feel comfortable. It's like, dude, if that chance is there, take it.
Yeah.
If you see that chance as a defenseman to go coast to coast, maybe holler at your winger, make sure he knows that he's got to drop back.
Yeah, play smart hockey.
Dude, go for it, man. Yeah. Go for it, 100%.
And I play that way too. So if I let in any goal, I don't care if it's a 5-on-0, I'm blaming myself.
Yeah.
And realistically, I think that has to do with what we talked about earlier. You play with the same guy over and over on a defensive pairing. You learn that from the player. Where luckily me and Eric have played together the majority of the year, and we've also got to play together a ton on the K-Folks, where you start getting that where you see Eric jumping up in the play. Okay, I got to kind of skirt to the middle, go a little bit back. If something happens, you get those covers where there's other people where if you've never played them, you don't know that's going to happen, and maybe you both jump up, and then you get totally screwed. But you get that chemistry together, you get that knowledge, you get that history together, and you can be better in those situations.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think we're going to end up seeing a lot of that right now. Is we're going to end up seeing which team's defense can cause the most offense. Pucks going all the way through that way. And I think the Ducks are most set up to have that type of offensive explosion from their back end.
Yeah.
Bronny's an excellent outlet passer. Rubel is really good at carrying the puck through.
Yeah.
Gibby's another guy who has good puck vision. So I mean, they got guys that can move the puck on their team.
Now
you just got to get the puck into the neutral zone even. Yeah. Just get it to Sugar.
Exactly. And here's another thing with Rubes. I don't know what line he's on, but if Rubes can come in like he usually does, cut and collapse that D, and Sugar's right there back, he's got a great fucking shot, man. Drop it back, boom, or drop it back, and you have a guy coming down to the weak side, fucking bingo bango, just something you gotta talk to your teammates with.
Totally agree. It's about getting the chemistry together, getting the team together, and
communication. That's going to be
at the end of the day, with every game counting as much as it has this year, one team not making the playoffs, you get that pressure, those bottom teams, even though the Whalers have been feeling it since Game 2, Game 3. We're just like, what's going on? And I can only imagine how the Ducks are feeling. The North Stars are feeling a little bit better, but they got to be feeling that pressure as well. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they only beat the second to last team in the power rankings. It took them overtime to beat us. So I don't know if they really deserve to be all the way up there at number 3.
the autos remember, Auto World, they give themselves the benefit of the doubt.
It's the auto bump.
But yeah, as always, reminder, give us a call on the Whoop line, 714-75-WHOOP. Email the show at podcast@mnlhl.com. Follow, subscribe on Twitch, all the other stuff. Dylan, did you have fun tonight?
Oh, I had a fucking blast, boys. Thanks for having me, and see you on the next one, boys.
Cone, glad to have you back as well.
Yeah, hope to make a couple more.
Yeah, so as I said before, we got the form. Click on the stats.mnlhl.com. Fill out the form if you want to join us. It sounds like we have Sam Mackey coming up, possibly
Nice.
Crunk. We have Ty. Hopefully Uncle Whoop. Uncle Whoop wanted to come in the week of the 22 podcast, but I had to give him the sorry we're full.
Oh, that's why I didn't come in tonight.
I might have hurt his feelings.
You know what?
Captain Planet, where you at, Captain Planet?
He texted me after he finally listened to the last podcast, and he said, if you guys remember, I told a story about how he came up and tried to give me golf lessons, and I said he was drunk. And so he listens to this thing like 3 weeks later, and he's like, fuck you, I wasn't drunk. So we need to clear his good name. Uncle Whoop was not drunk at my golf lesson.
I wasn't drunk.
tipsy.
I only
He was a
had
little
9
tipsy.
beers
Yeah.
at that point.
He was just hungover from last night. I don't know.
But yeah, we the more the merrier. We like to have other people coming in. So got a couple of spots filling up. Hopefully, you'll have some more. I was bugging Busta.
Yeah, Busta would be a good one.
I know
Football
he's got to
season's
drive
over.
though, so that's kind of tough. Ryan Allen, all the GMs, everybody else.
I think getting GMs in is nice because you get a little bit of that different insight.
They might be scared of the trusted voice kind of calling them out, asking them about their team, asking them about trades. So.
I know. I feel like you got a lot of material now. I'm like the Lions. I'm not a buyer. I'm a buyer, but I'm a seller. And at the trade deadline, I'm probably going to do nothing.
It's all about value, baby. You gotta have your value sheet on everybody in the league, and if you get an offer where you're winning that trade points wise, you make it happen.
Exactly.
Everybody in the league has a price. It's just if the other teams are willing to match that or meet that price. No one's untradeable as far as I'm concerned.
No.
I would trade both of you in a second.
Aren't we number 1 and 2 in the goalie standings? Fuck. He's gonna trade us.
Yeah, I know, right?
Hey, Cone, if you
Because the
were
value's high. I'd trade me too.
Yeah, right?
Fuck, I've been in the basement of goalie standings the past 4 years. I'd trade me too.
if you were on my team and all of a sudden they were like, we'll give you Antioch, Proctor for Cone and Piercy, I'd be like,
Still,
get the
as a
fuck
skater?
out of here.
no, still a bad trade. Still a bad trade.
But yeah, I think we've covered everything tonight. So
Watch out next week, North Stars. We're coming for you, baby. Better eat your Wheaties, eat your fucking spinach. We coming for you, baby. Dylan out.
so we are over.